Hello everyone, welcome to Almighty Tricks. In this video, we'll be understanding about builder design pattern. Before we start with builder design pattern, we need to understand why builder design pattern is required. So we'll take one use case and we'll understand the problems, then how we can solve that problem using builder design pattern that we are going to see in this video. So let's get started with the use case. So I have one employee class, okay, and in that employee class, I have these attributes: name, email, salary, address, and skill. So name and emails are mandatory field. Salary, address and skills are optional field. Okay, so the first problem statement is saying we need to create employee object, okay, and we need to set the attribute value. Okay, so how we can design a class by which we can create a object of employee class, also we can set the value of attributes. Okay, let's see that. Okay, so I have created one employee class here, okay, and I have these attributes. Okay, all the attributes are private. Okay, and I have some setter methods. I have some setter and getter methods. Okay, so using setter and getter methods, I can set all the value for these attributes. Okay, and using getter method, I'll get all the value from this class. Okay, so how can I create this object? So I need to create object like this. So I need to have employee class, some reference variable name, let's say E, then new employee class. I can create like this. Then how can I set the value? Let's say take E dot set name. Okay, then I'll put some name here. Then it will set the value. How can I get the value? E dot get name. Okay, I'll get the value. Okay, but here let's say okay, let's take another problem statement. So the second problem statement is saying the employee class can be a immutable class. Okay, the second problem statement is saying this employee class can be a immutable class. So in that case, if it is immutable, so in that case I cannot use this setter method, right? It will give compilation error, correct? So I need to have final attribute here, and I need to remove all this thing, and I need to find one way to set the attributes. Okay, let's check that one. Okay, so I remove setter methods and I change this private string to private final, then string name, private final string email. Okay, so I have put this keyword, this final. Okay, and I can set the value using parameterized constructor. Okay, so I am passing this name, email, address, salary, skill using employee constructor, and I am setting this value here. Okay, then I'll get the value using getter methods. Okay, now let's understand how we can set the attributes using constructor. Okay, so we can create the object and we need to pass all these arguments correctly. Okay, so we need to remember which sequence. So first we are passing name, then we are passing email, then address, then salary, then skill. This sequence we need to remember. Okay, let's say in future we have lots of attributes, let's say 20 or 25 attributes we have. So in that case we need to remember this sequence also. Okay, otherwise what it will happen, let's say this is also name is string, email is string, address is string. So it is very much possible that I can pass, in place of name I can pass India. Okay, and in place of skills I can pass name. Okay, so by which the data inconsistency will happen. So in that case, this is not a good approach. Let's keep it aside and let's say we are passing sequentially and we are setting the attributes. Okay, now let's understand what other problems we can get if we set the value using this type of approach. So if we are setting all the value using this parameterized constructor, now the question is how can we construct object with different combination of optional parameters? Okay, so what I mean, let's say we have some requirement where we need to have constructor like name, email, then address, and similarly let's say name, email, I can have skills. Similarly I can have a name, email, salary. Okay, so how can I use different combination to set the value? So for that we can use constructor overloading, and also we can use telescopic constructor. Okay, so I'll not discuss the telescopic constructor. It is very similar to constructor overloading, but I'll not going into this. I'll be discussing about constructor overloading. Okay, let's see that. So I have three constructors. constructor I have overloaded, like one constructor is string name, string email, string address. Another is string name, email, then int salary. Another is string name, email, skills. Okay, so using constructor overloading, I can set the value with different combination. Okay, but one thing you can observe here. So this is string, and this is string. Okay, in the first constructor, all three are string. Okay, if you observe in the third constructor, also the method constructor signature are string, string, string. So this is not allowed, right? So in the constructor overloading, we can have different constructor signature, right? But if you say this first constructor signature and third constructor signature are same, so it will give compilation error. Okay, so it is not allowed. So this is using constructor overloading or using constructor. If we set the value, we can get this type of problems, right? So now let's understand how we can solve all these problems using builder design pattern. So let me create one package here, that is builder. So inside this builder, let me create one client class, and I can have static void main method. Okay, let me create employee class, and the employee class will have private string name, private. This is, I can have all the attributes in the employee class. Now I need to generate a getter method. Okay, so I need to have getter method here. Let me create one builder class here. So I'll explain that later. Okay, so in the builder class, what I need to do, whatever attributes present in the employee class, those attributes need to be present in builder class. So let me copy this, and I need to have setter method here. In the builder class, I need to have setter methods. Okay, so what I need to do now, so in the set we are setting the value, right? But we need to, these attributes are present in the employee class. So this builder is we are creating for the employee class. So for that, we need to set the value and we need to return to the employee class. Okay, so for that, I need to have the builder return type here. Okay, and I need to return this. Similarly, for each and every setter method, I need to do same thing. Now what I can do, I need to have one method where using that method I can create the employee object. Okay, let's do that. So I can have one public employee, it should be employee type, build method. Using this build method, I can return the new employee object. Okay, so if I go to this employee object, basically what we need to do here, we need to have one parameterized constructor for employee, which will take the builder class, which will take this builder class, let's say B. Then from here, basically we can set the value. Okay, so I'll come to this later. Maybe I'll explain it here. So we have, okay, so let me put here this dot name equals to b dot name. So it will give error for now, we'll fix it later. This dot email, b dot email. So from the builder class, we can get this value. So we have created this builder class. So builder method we have created, and we are creating one object for employee class. So from here we need to pass. So in this employee class we have this parameter constructor which is taking builder class. Okay, so for that we need to pass this builder here. So how can we pass? Using this keyword. Okay, so it will pass this, then it will pass this builder and it will come here and it will set the value. So currently we are getting this error. We'll fix it. So how can we fix it? We no need to have this builder class. Okay, so we no need to have separate file for this builder class. What I'll do, I'll copy all this thing. Then here in the employee class, I'll put this. Okay, I'll put this. Now it should be public and static. Okay, and now if you see, we can able to fix this error. Okay, let me delete this builder.java which is not required now. So let me create employee object here. So employee.e equals to new employee.builder.set, let's say name is John, dot set, let's say email is abc@gmail.com, dot set address, let's say India, dot set, let's say salary, let's say 50,000, dot set skill, let's say Java. Okay, so if you see, now we are able to set the value, but we are not yet create the employee object. So for that, what I need to do, I need to use dot build. Okay, so let me print this one, s out. So I can print like e dot get name, get email, so let me run this. So we are able to set the value and we can able to create the object for the employee class. So this new employee.builder is fine, it will work fine, but let me create one create builder method, and from there we will create this builder object. So let me create that in employee class. So I can have public, static, this will return builder object. So create builder, and from here I can return new builder. Okay, and I'll use this create builder in place of employee dot create builder. Okay, fine. Let's say we don't want to set the salary. So in that case, if I put comment here, and let's say we don't want to set the address here, so it will show the default value like 0 and null. Okay, 0 and null it will show. Okay, so we can set the value before creating the object of the employee class as well. Okay, but in that previous approach where we used to set the all the attributes in the employee constructor, so that time basically it first create the object, then it was setting the value. But here first we set the value, then we create the object. Okay, so builder design pattern, it gives this flexible to create the object. Okay, let's understand one more problem statement. So the third problem statement is saying we need to have some validation. Okay, so the validation is saying we need to check if salary is 20,000, greater than 20,000, and skill is Java. So in that case we need to create the object. Okay, so it is saying before creating the object we need to check this value. Okay, then only it will create the object. Okay, otherwise we need to throw the exception. Okay, so let's understand how we can do that. So if I go to employee class, okay, and in the builder class I need to have one validate method. Let's say boolean validate. Okay, so in this validate method I'll check if salary is greater than 20,000 and skill is equal, ignore case, is Java, then I'll return true. Otherwise return false. Okay, so now if you see here in builder class, in build method, build method, we are creating this employee object. Okay, so it is saying before we create this employee object, we need to check this validation. So if this valid, then only we will create this object, otherwise we will throw the exception. Okay, so now I need to use this validate method from here. If it is not true, if it is false, okay, then I'll throw the exception. So new illegal argument exception. Okay, parameters are not correct. Okay, let me save this. If it is not valid, then it will throw the exception, and if it is valid, then it will create the employee object. So this is the beauty of builder design pattern. So before we create the object, we can validate and we can set the value. Okay, so if I run this, let me uncomment all this thing, we save this, let me put, let's say 10,000 first. So it should give the exception because we are setting the salary should be 20,000, greater than 20,000. If you see, it is throwing the illegal argument exception. Let me put, let's say 50,000. Now it will work. Now it is creating object. Okay, so this is all about builder design pattern. Hope you understood all these concepts. See you in next video. Thank you for watching this.